I'd like to call to order the May 18th, 2021 Brooklyn City Board of Education regular meeting. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Here.
Mr. Neal.
Here.
Mr. Oper.
Here.
Mr. Slattery.
Here.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Here, can we stand for the pledge, please? Aye.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We had no comments from visitors tonight, okay? Okay, and now on to the superintendent's report and Dr. Ted Collier.
Good evening, Mrs. Barcheck, Board of Education. Before I jump into my report this evening, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce two new administrators that will have joining the district next school year. Mrs. Supriya Cooliton, who comes to us from Lorraine City Schools. Mrs. Cooliton right now is currently a principal at one of their elementaries. Next year, she's going to be serving as our coordinator of student support programs. And then I'm going to introduce Mr. Johnny Bolin, who will be serving as our pre-K through 7 principal next school year. So we're excited for them to join the Hurricane family. I want to welcome Johnny's family, who's also here. Mrs. Kalish, thank you for being here. Ms. Smith, thank you for being here. But I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Cooliton. If you want to go up to the podium there and maybe say a few words of welcome. No pressure.
I just want to take the, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's for show.
Oh, okay. I do.
This is being taped too, so that's great. It's all good.
It's
a good start.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to meet you all in person. And just briefly about myself, you know, this is my 27th year in education, and I'm so excited to start this new role and this new position. And I'm blessed to be here in Brooklyn. You know, I was telling Dr. Kaleris and Ms. Kalish during the interview, I grew up working at the 117th and Belair Burger King for many, many years, and recall taking my kids to the Memphis Kiddie Park, and boy, I've kind of taught on the east side and the west side of town, and it finally kind of feels like I'm coming back home here and in my last few years of my career. So I'm so happy to be here and looking forward to the new opportunity.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Mr. Bolin, if you could come on up now and maybe say a few words. Mr. Bolin comes to us from Berea City Schools, currently at the assistant principal at their high school. Also did some time as an assistant at their middle school and was also a middle school teacher. So we're just absolutely thrilled that both of them are joining us, but I want to give it to Mr. Bolin to say hello.
Yeah, just hello to the Brooklyn family. Thank you guys for the opportunity. Mixed, emotional, excited, humbled. I was blessed enough to come from a job that I liked, so I was able to be very selective in the jobs that I chose, and I was very intentional in my opportunity, pursuing my opportunity to come to Brooklyn. There's so much I love about this district, so much I'm excited for, and I really can't wait to get my feet on the ground, start working with this extremely talented staff, start working with our students, and I see so much potential here, and I see so much growth already. I'm just excited to be part of those next steps in helping Brooklyn become one of the premier districts in our area and in our state. So I'm ready to lace them up, buckle up, get those boots on the ground, and we're gonna have a great time, but we're gonna get some things done around here. So thank you, I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to meet all the faces on the other side of that screen. So, all right.
Thank you.
Good job.
I actually got a private message on Facebook from somebody in the Berea School District who says they're never going to talk to me again because we stole you. I'll get you the name afterwards. I won't.
All right.
I had a few comments at Polaris.
Oh, you're at Polaris too? All right. Yeah.
Mike Shepard in particular.
Yeah. Actually, I know him well. So.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Thank
Welcome to Brooklyn.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again for being here. You guys do not need to sit through the remainder of the meeting, but thank you for being here. And before I jump on, any questions from the board members for either of them? No? Okay, thank you for being here, appreciate
you so
everybody.
much.
Thanks
Good
so
luck
much.
with
Have a good
Yeah.
night. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Ms. Barczyk, I'm going to jump into my review of the agenda and my report for this evening. In reviewing the agenda, item 4.1 will be the Positive Education Program PEP Assist agreement for the 21-22 school year. This is out of IDEA federal grant money. Agreement, or motion 4.2. This agreement with the National Federation of High School Network School Broadcast Program. So what this does is it's going to allow us to live stream our games next year, both at the stadium and in the high school gym. It's free of cost to the school district. We'll get the 2 cameras for free. We will get the access for the district. However, anybody wishing to live stream, so grandma, grandpa at home can't get to the game, there'll be a small fee associated with that on their end. After a couple years, we'll receive some royalties back from that, but generally, we're getting the cameras, we're getting the access, and we're getting the installation for free. There was another alternative that would have been a little bit more costly for the district, so roughly using this, we're saving the district, if we went down this road, about $35,000 compared to the other vendor that was gonna do this for us, okay?
How long is this contract? What should I
So
hold that for?
no, it's fine, it's a 5-year contract.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can they-
5,
Can like the grandparents order like a season pass?
yes, absolutely,
So
Mrs.
there's a-
Barczyk.
Okay.
Will we be running the cameras? I'm assuming we are running the cameras?
Actually, it'll be actually through, they'll be mounted through the
Oh,
phone.
okay,
Yeah,
gotcha,
so it's really, it's something that Mr. Becker's gonna be able to, with the other vendor, we would have had to actually have somebody running the camera on a daily per game. This is just kind of log in, click a couple buttons, and it automatically live streams. So it's a little bit more user-friendly for us until we get the hang of it.
They allow advertising on this license?
They do, and it's in the agreement with certain things that they don't allow, and it's the typical agreement. There's nothing in there that stood out to me as a concern.
So the local Brooklyn vendor wanted to advertise, like.
If they want to do that, they would partner through them. Independence uses this platform right now. There's a couple other school districts in the area that use this. Okay.
I just have one other question.
No, you're fine,
Now, that's
absolutely.
the main west gym?
Yes, high school gym, main
Okay.
gym.
Do we use the field house to?
We use the
volleyball
field house
games?
for middle school, so we will not be live streaming from the field house. But if Mr. Becker has an opportunity, we'll move some of those middle school games.
Just so they get the experience?
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
cool.
It probably won't be every game, Mr. Slattery, but we're gonna get an opportunity for the younger kids to get into the high school gym, for
Excellent,
sure.
thank you.
4.3, agreement with Suburban School Transportation. This is for the 21-22 school year, and this will be for our outplaced special ed students. 4.4 and 4.5 are the approval of the pre-K through 7 and Brooklyn High School student handbooks. 4.6 is the second reading of our policies that we reviewed last time. 4.7, approval of the student fees for 21-22 school year, no change from this school year. 4.8, cafeteria prices for the 21-22 school year, also no change. Now, right now, the federal government has extended free lunches through a certain point. I want these approved as a formality. I'm not really sure the specifics of when kids will be paying next year and when they won't, but I wanted to have this resolution just in case at some point we flip and kids have to start paying, okay? 4.9 is authorization of the 21-22 membership for OHSAA. Just a little quick note about this. Only difference for this school year with OHSAA, they're instituting a small $50 fee per sport, per gender fee. Obviously, with the pandemic last year, they took a big financial hit. This is a way to recuperate some of that money. It's gonna cost the district probably less than $300, $400 to do something like this. So very small cost to allow our kids to participate. 5.1 are all the supplemental teaching assignments for 21-22 school year. You can see they're listed there. You'll notice on a couple of them that says 0.5. That means those staff members are splitting that contract with another staff member. 5.2, the approval of supplemental coaching assignments, both paid and volunteer. For the fall, we'll go ahead and approve winter coaches as we get into next school year. So sometime about August, we'll start seeing the fall, the winter supplementals. 5.3, these are some amendments to the resolution that we were approved last time. Anita Bruzek was a mistake on my part. She should have been 7.5 hours instead of 6.5 for that year. So that was an amendment to that. The other assignments amendments are Mrs. Krajewski, Ms. Sefcik, Ms. Click, and Ms. Murdoch. We wanted to be specific because they're new positions, especially Janice moving full-time to the athletic aide. Mary Ellen and Melody are actually moving back into the transportation, so we wanted to make sure it was specific as to which step and which appendix they were on. And then Katie, we left off the appendix on the last time, so those are those amendments. 5.4, this is transition allowance for Mrs. Sefcik. She's gonna be basically a full-time bus driver next year. We're gonna have things that we need to do in the bus garage, both in June and in August. This will get us up running for the school year, routing, things like that. So this is gonna be instrumental in making sure we're off to a good start for next school year. 5.5 will be the summer cleaning approval. 5.6, 5.7, and 5.8 are all extended school year, summer school for both classified and certified staff that'll be working with kids. That money the cost of those staff members, we will be able to charge to our ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 funds. Right now, they're gonna be coming out of general fund, but eventually we'll be able to charge that back to those grant funds. 5.10 is curriculum writing. These are new courses that are being created or modified, and you can see those staff members working on those courses and number of hours over the summer. 5.11, certified resignation of Miss Maisie, moving to South Carolina, so I want to wish her the best of luck. 5.12, a certified retirement of Miss Burke, with a commendation at 5.13. Want to wish Mrs. Burke all the success in her retirement. 5.14 will be the approval of Delia Velez, who will be our new Spanish teacher next school year, coming from Brunswick City Schools. 5.15, classified resignation of Miss Baldwin. Gonna talk to her last week. Does a great job for us, gonna miss her quite a bit. Had her kids when I was middle school principal, so Tina will definitely be missed. And those are my resolutions for this evening. Couple comments related to just general happenings. Obviously, the governor announced last week that all health orders will be rescinded or lifted on June 2nd. Got another message from the governor on that Saturday saying that for now, we would like to, maintain the mask guidance for schools through the end of our school year. I think it's a good move for us with only 3 school days after June 2nd. So we will be maintaining our mask requirement for staff and students for the remainder of this school year. Probably we will be doing the same thing for our summer school, especially in June, until we get better guidance from the CDC and the governor regarding schools. I would say right now, if the trajectory keeps up, that masks will be an option for our kids next year. If the health orders remain lifted, I would say that we would follow that guidance from the CDC, but also allowing families, if they want, and staff, if they want to wear masks, absolutely allow families to do that. So for the remainder of this school year, and at least through the summer school, we're going to maintain our mask requirements for students and staff, just to be precautious.
What about the Board of Health, the Health County Board.
Yeah, Board of
Are
Health.
they in line with?
They are
in
absolutely,
sync?
they are, absolutely, yep, they are absolutely in line. So, like I said, it's, it's May 18th right now, and that's, who knows what can happen next week, let alone 3 months from now. But I anticipate masks being an option for our students and staff next year if everything holds true throughout the rest of the summer. Questions on that? That's an important topic. I want to make sure everybody has any questions or anything, any confusion before we move on.
Once we start our planning for the fall, will we be looking at like lunches and just the whole program, things that we've changed during the pandemic? And are we going back to previous, or are we gonna stick with what? I mean,
Right.
looking at different things like distancing. And
Yeah,
all that
I
stuff.
think what I anticipate is a pre-pandemic schedule. I think we're still going to have to maintain some form of masking from an option standpoint? Yes. Do I think we need to look at maybe some social distancing pieces? Yes. Mitigation, cleaning, things of those, yes. But the data this school year has been very clear for Brooklyn City Schools, that when kids are here, they are not spreading it from kid to kid. Any of our student or staff cases have originated outside the school. That tells me a lot of different things, but one is that we got a great relationship with our parents because they're communicating with us. They're keeping their kids home sick. They're talking to us. Great partnership there. That's been so helpful. But also that I think the masks are working, or kids are doing what they need to do. So, and staff is doing what they need to do. So right now I anticipate that pre-pandemic schedule. Are we still gonna be living with COVID next year? Absolutely. Are we still gonna have cases? Absolutely. I think we're just gonna have to work through it like we do this year. Yeah.
Okay.
What about the school board meetings, Dr. Dick?
I say we go back to regular school board meetings, Mr. Singer. Yeah, I know, and again, that's something we can talk about. I know that, the live streaming is become something we had to do in terms of the pandemic. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, right? And so I think that's something that maybe we talk about as a group, to say one non-taped, one taped. It's at the board's pleasure of what you want to do in terms of that, but in terms of having folks come in, I anticipate return to normal for our school district in terms of board meetings. Any other question? Okay, great. Couple other comments, just want to get through them. Congratulations to our high school students that were honored at the high school academic awards ceremony last week. Congratulations to our 6th and 7th grade National Junior Honor Society students that were honored on Friday. Mrs. Freight did a great job. She went back to the 2020 inductees, brought them, invited them, and we inducted a new group of students. So congratulations to those students. A couple end of the year activities just to be aware of. Our high school, our Mr. Hare and Mrs. Seco are going to be doing a I want to say informal, formal Memorial Day celebration on Tuesday the 25th. There's no parade this year, which we understand, but both principals felt that they wanted to do something. So it's about a 30 to 45 minute ceremony that they're going to be holding with kids and having some veterans come in and talk. So looking forward to that. On Friday the 28th, prom at Windows on the River for our students. Commencement is Sunday, June 6th at our stadium. That's assuming no rain, right? And then this Saturday from 9 to 12, we have the bike rodeo outside here in the lot. One last thing I want to mention, our art class through Mr. Casper is working on a mural project over there on Ridge Road. And so if you see that, you can see that Mr. Casper and his students are working on that mural project. So lots of good things going on. At the next board meeting, I'll be talking more in depth about Portrait of the Graduate. At our June 22nd meeting, I'd like to really talk a little bit more in depth about the reopening plan and just kind of what we're thinking. Love to hear the board's input on that, because that partnership is important as we move forward. Ms. Barczyk, that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Claire. So now under the treasurer's report, and Mrs. A.
Thank you. Tonight I have on the agenda 2 community reinvestment agreements, one with Terrace and the other one with the Floridian properties. The board filed a complaint with the Board of Revisions requesting an increase in the value of the property valuation that they came up with. And they came to a settlement that the property owner will pay the Board of Education $43,867 in 3 installments. And similar situation with the Floridian property. The Board of, is this okay? Am I 6 feet from you? Sorry. Similar with the Floridian property, the school board filed the complaint and we reached a settlement agreement that the owner will pay the Board of Education $35,068 in 3 installments. So I have those resolutions on the agenda. The next thing I have is the 5-year forecast for May. As you recall, as in the November forecast, property taxes make up the majority of the school's revenues. The school is staying strong with community collection support with a rate around 97.2%. The next big revenue source that we have is the state foundation. There was an increase from my November forecast to May in fiscal year 22 due to the state foundation not being being cut less than was previous projected. They were going to cut us $200,000 like they did in 21, and in fiscal year 22 they only cut us $98,000. So our expenses went up a little bit due to the foundation not cutting us as much. In all, my comparison to the November forecast to the May was a slight decrease in revenues in 21 just due to a decrease in the public utility collections. That's a timing on payment, and I'm hoping I'm going to clarify that with the county. But then we had also one-time delinquency payoff. But the second year we go up and we get that money back with the foundation money. The expenses in fiscal year 21 had a slight increase from the November forecast just due to more severance payments that are being projected to pay out through the retirements that we have and some extra payouts for the COVID expenses. Those will get reimbursed when we get our ESSER money back. We have to spend the money first and then we show that we spent it, then we get approved by ODE and then they reimburse us. So fiscal year 21 shows a slight increase just because we are starting to pay for those things, but when fiscal year 22 hits, we will get that money back. So fiscal year 22 and 23 will show a slight decrease due to all the COVID-related money that we're going to get. We got 3 installments, ESSER 1, ESSER 2, and then ESSER 3 is pending at about $3.3 million. That brings us to all the ESSER money helps us out for, it shifts expenses about 1 or 2 years down the road to help us. But that brings us to fiscal year 24 and 25, where our tax renewals are falling off. So those are very important to the community that those tax renewals get renewed. If they do not, we're looking at a $1.5 million deficit in fiscal year 24 spending deficit and a close to $4 million deficit over revenues in fiscal year 25. So those renewals are very important to us. If they do pass, we are still looking at a slight deficit at about $300,000, but we're hoping with the ESSER 3 coming in that will help us. But those tax renewals are very important to us for 24 and 25, and potentially down the line we'll be having a conversation about new money. So I just kind of wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. And that is all I have.
Mrs. I'm sorry, Mrs. A, does
Yes.
is ESSER 3 money reflected in this forecast?
Thank you. The forecast that I have attached here, ESSER 1 and ESSER 2 is projected, but ESSER 3 is not. It has not been officially approved and dropped yet. That's why I didn't want to put it in here, but I will have it in my November forecast, assuming that it's dropped by then. So my forecast is going to be different due to that, but I'll have explanations of ESSER 3. Thank you for that.
Just want to make sure.
So yes, ESSER 3 is not in the current forecast that we have. And please, if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to email, call me. I'm available.
Thank you.
You have a question, Mrs. A?
Yes.
In your financial update, you mentioned, I have on agenda for recommendation Diana Maher for payroll benefits specialist. Is she on?
No, I apologize. I had to pull that last minute. Yesterday, I believe I
Yes,
sent out a
you sent
text.
them,
Yeah, I had to pull that one last
Oh,
minute.
okay, because I didn't see it in here, so.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that was a mistake.
Yeah.
Yes, no, sorry, that, it was on there and it got pulled.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, now on to board committee reports, and we're gonna start from Mr. Rick Singer.
All right. I really don't have any report. I just looking forward to graduation. in June, and hopefully we'll have nice weather like we have today for graduation ceremonies. I do want to congratulate again. I had an opportunity to go to the Academic Achievement Awards last week, and very proud of all of our students that made the academic achievements, including your daughter, and hope that those numbers will increase with Portrait of a Graduate. Absolutely. So, end of report.
Thank you. Mr. Singer, now on to Mr. Jim Ober.
Thank you. Let's see. I'd like to congratulate the Brooklyn nominees for the National Technical Honor Society, Victoria Godley for cosmetology, Elizabeth Todd for criminal justice, and Haley Gwynn for engineering. The normal graduation, which is usually held at Grace Church, just like last year, won't be held, unfortunately, because of COVID, but each program will be having their own ceremony on the campus. The administration, in conjunction with the board, we're working on a new strategic plan going forward. Now that the building is complete, we can better look at various programs and decide how they best fit into today. This has already started with the vet tech and pre-law initiatives I talked about last month. The strategic plan will also involve looking at the relationships with each home district and how better to strengthen them. And like my colleagues, I'm looking forward to graduation on June 2nd as well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Ober. Now on to Mr. Rocky Neal.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to welcome Mr. Boland and Miss Coolitan, right? Supriya, to our new home. I think they'll do a wonderful job, new spirit. Bike rodeo outside, is that gonna be mask or unmask, or we're gonna play that one by ear?
We're gonna play that one by ear,
All right.
absolutely.
Congrats to all the honor roll. Welcome, and they're probably looking forward to all the graduates coming down the pike here in the next couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that as well, too. I would like to thank all my fellow board members for our spirited conversation about the Chinese. I think we need to educate each other on where that came from and how it all works, so I want to thank you all for that spirited conversation we had the other day. In addition, I don't know if you guys saw your last brief legislative report. There's more new education coming from out of the, for education out of the House, established new school funding, and I'll just sort of go through some quick paragraphs here. Overall, the House plans on spending $8.93 billion in FY '22 and $9.14 billion in 2023. They, remember, DeWine had something and they knocked that right out of the block, so the formula is going to look different. At least they're trying to do something. The $6,020 per pupil looks like it's going to be a variable. It's going to be based on a few things, and Ted, you can come in here as well, too. Based on your district size, your local revenues, that type of stuff, so special education. So, we'll see. Many of us have been on this board for 12 years. We've heard this a few different times.
I mean, I
so.
echo what Mr. Neal said. From what I'm hearing, it's positive. I
Right.
don't anticipate like dramatic change, but I think a little change will be good in this case, and they're starting to recognize that there needs to be a change in how things are funded. But again, I'll hold off my comments until it really comes down the road. You know, we've saw some simulations which show Brooklyn picking up money based on this new formula, which is a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, we'll kind of wait and see to see what happens through the legislative process.
Yeah, this is the first time actually I believe I've seen it in this paper.
Yeah.
That I can recall.
Yeah.
So at least it's a positive thing, and it came from a House bill in the Senate, or in the House of Representatives, so. That's all I have. Mrs. Barczyk?
Thank you, Mr. Neal. And now on to Mr. Rob Slattery.
Thank you. We had a facilities meeting a few weeks ago. Dr. Ted, myself, and Mrs. Neal went over the fence line, and I think we mentioned it at the last meeting, so that's moving forward with bids for asphalt. So we should see some very nice improvements coming up fairly soon. We had a rec board meeting last night. Mr. Abruzzi has got things rolling. He's got a lot going on, but I see a lot of good They had, they have 5 teams from the 8U to 14U, only 60 kids. So he was kind of disappointed in the numbers, but you do the math, all those kids are gonna get a lot of playing time.
That's right.
So hopefully that kind of builds them up for next year. T-ball, which is coach pitch, they had 60 kids, so that was a good response. Let's see here, they did some upgrades to the rec center, new diving board. There's a shade area they're building down at Marquardt. I still have not been down to see the new playground they built down there, but it's supposed to be pretty nice. The Stickney Creek update is supposed to be done the end of the month, and then they're waiting on, they received a grant for the ODNR for some sort of pathway, but the money's not in yet, so they may do a gravel path just temporarily. But it's actually kind of smart what they're doing. That gravel is gonna be the base for the path anyway, so they're not losing any money. It's not like they gotta lay something down and take it back. Safety Town, they're gonna paint all of the course and everything in the end of May, and then it'll open in July. They'll have classes in July and August. It looks like they're gonna add an extra class or two because the response is so big. And then summer camp is maxed out.
Oh, that's
They
great
have 50 kids per week for all 9 weeks.
That's
They said the
great.
response was just overwhelming.
That's great news.
So that is all I have.
Just Larry, if I could answer one thing, and just because you mentioned the facility piece, at the June 22nd meeting, I'll go over some of the facility projects that we have in the district this summer, just so the board's aware of what we got going on. And again, our biggest project's gonna be the paving piece over at Hurricane Alley and then over in this complex. But we got some other smaller things that I think are gonna be beneficial from a, beautification standpoint and just, cleaning up some of the things we need. So I'll update the board at the June 22nd in terms of some of those other things.
I did get a call from a lady, very nice lady who lives on Rodone. She calls me every once in a while, and she's like, I saw some equipment up there. What are they doing? I said, they're finalizing the levee. All they're gonna do is put seed down. They're not doing anything else up there.
that's right, yeah.
She's like, okay, I'll tell all the neighbors. So
So that
thank you
should-
for telling the neighbors.
Yeah, that should be done this week, and then I talked to Rodwell from GPD. He's gonna go out there, take a look at it on Tuesday, do a final inspection, and then communicate with the contractor with regards to any cleanup in terms of that. But the seeding should be done this week. I think they're rock hounding today and tomorrow, seeding the rest of the week, so.
Is it just a hydro seed, or just gonna spray it, or
I
are they
can't
planting?
speak to that, Mr. Slater. That I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Hope for rain.
And hope for rain.
Half inch each night.
That's right, that's
Between
right.
3 and
Just
5.
enough.
That's right. So, but it's perfect timing because then that'll allow us, once we figure out the contractor for the asphalt, then we can start looking at that pretty quickly in June, early July, so we get that done before August 1.
Football.
Thank you. I wanted to say, I think the idea with the Memorial Day presentation is wonderful, because I think, don't want to lose the meaning of the holiday, even though I know we can't have a parade again this year.
Yeah, that's all, Ms. Barczyk, thank you, that's all the principals' idea, they came up with it, Mr. Hare, Mrs. Seco, Mr. Sullivan kind of coordinated, they asked me what I thought, I said, go forth and do what you feel is appropriate, again, it's not a lot, but it's something appropriate, that it's an important holiday, and I'm with you, it's a
Yes.
good thing to happen, good thing for our kids to see, for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you. I think that's-
Unfortunately, I forget that, I sent an email, I believe I sent it by text message to everybody. Did you guys read that little article about that program they had with real-life situations and stuff? I'm assuming we have something like that, but I
We
think
do.
having a
Yeah.
bigger event like that would be kind of.
Yeah, they're working through it, one of our financial classes, but yeah, the real-life piece is an important piece, absolutely.
Thank you, I'm
I
sorry.
seen that, I thought that was amazing. I thought
Yeah, it
that
wasn't
was
my idea,
very-
but I'm smart enough
yeah.
to steal a good idea.
Yeah, that was definitely, I thought that was a really good idea. Kids need to understand that, things that will definitely hit them one way or
Well, I
other.
like the kid that, I think I went overboard on the truck. I only got $20 left for bills.
Welcome to life.
Yes, welcome to life. And I can always be reached if anyone would like to speak to me at 216-406-4304. Now on to the reading, approval of minutes and financial statements, and tonight's reader is Mr. Rick Singer.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Be resolved that the minutes of the Board of Education meeting be adopted and all action taken by the Board of Education at said meeting is hereby reaffirmed and approved.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the financial statements of receipts and expenditures for the month of April 2021, including all purchase orders paid and all then and now statements for the month as of submission.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into an agreement with Positive Education Program, also known as PEP, for behavior coach for the 2021-22 school year, which will be paid out of the IDEA federal grant. Agreement is on file with the Treasurer's Office.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School Board of Education hereby authorizes the superintendent to enter into an agreement with NFHS Network School Broadcast Program for the 2021-22 school year at no cost to the district. This agreement is on file in the Treasurer's Office.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a
Second.
second? Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby enters an agreement with Suburban School Transportation for the transportation of identified Brooklyn students for the 2021-22 school year. This agreement is also on the file in the Treasurer's Office.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached Brooklyn School Handbook for the 2021-22 school year.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Comment.
Yes.
Did we change the mission statement on the school handbook? I just went through it, looked like it was the old one.
It should not have, it should have been changed. Pull it up right here. Which one, the lower school or the upper school, high school?
I think it was the lower school.
I'll double check that, Mr. Singer. Thanks for pointing that out. I will take a look. I'm looking at the mission here. It says the tradition, pride, excellence piece that we've been looking at. Yeah. But I will double check and make sure that both school
All right.
districts represent, or both schools represent that.
Yeah, it should be in sync. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. No, thank you for catching it.
Okay.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached Brooklyn High School Handbook for the 2021-22 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the second reading and adoption of the following board policies. They are as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a
Second.
second? Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
No.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education will hereby assess the following school fees for the students for the 2021-22 school year. District-wide lost ID is $5, grades 4 through 7. Agenda fee is $10. High school student parking pass $10. High school advanced placement test is $90.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a-
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be it resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following cafeteria prices for the 2021-22 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby authorizes membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association for the 2021-22 school year per the attachment.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2021-22 supplemental teaching assignments with the provision that such individuals comply with all rules and regulations and the State Department of Education regulations pertinent to proper certification and fulfills the requirements of the job description attached to their supplemental contracts. And I'll just say as noted.
Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Ms. Barcheck, Board of Education, we still have a few unfilled, like
Okay.
a faculty manager, so my goal is to have everything filled and ready to roll by the end of June. So, but they'll come pieces and parts, but it's probably less than 5.
For the edification of the public, we will have like a list of how much each one of these makes. Can we have that?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following persons for the 2021-22 supplemental coaching assignments with the provision that such individuals comply with all Ohio High School Athletic Association rules and regulations and State Department of Education regulations pertaining to proper certification and/or first aid training, and fulfills the requirements of the job description attached to their supplemental contracts, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
I have a comment. My sister-in-law's on here. I think I'm just gonna abstain, just for general purpose. I don't think it's world-ending.
Do you want to pull that one out individually, Mr. Neal, or you just want to abstain?
I'll just abstain. It's
That
not-
work- that work.
Everybody knows I'm not against
Yeah, yeah.
the rest of it.
Yep,
I
yep.
just don't want it to be.
That makes
she-
sense.
She's a very good coach, so there's no issue there. So anyway, just want to let everybody know that.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Abstain.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby amends resolution number 21-05-165 to reflect the following clarification of assignments or reassignments and/or increases in hours for the 2021-22 school year, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Have a
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs.
Thank
A?
you to Mrs. A for catching these.
Thank-
Her office caught them.
Thank you. Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be it resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the transition hours listed below as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the employment of the following individuals to perform summer cleaning for 5 hours per day, not to exceed 51 days, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following certified staff members to provide extended school year, also known as ESY, services to students whose individual education plan deemed it necessary, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following certified staff members to provide summer school.
Can I have a
As
motion?
noted, I'm sorry, as
Oh, that's
noted.
fine. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School Board Board of Education hereby approves the following classified staff members to work with students in the extended school year program, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following certified staff members to provide a 2-week summer school for kindergarten readiness for the incoming 2021-22 class to be paid out of Title I funds,
Can I have a motion, please?
as noted.
So moved.
Questions,
Second.
comments?
Hey, Dr. Ted, do summer schools scare kids as much as they did when we were in school?
No. It's different.
I was hoping for a different answer.
You know, I'll tell you what, the kindergarten readiness piece will be really helpful for our little ones, coming into the school for the first time. We're also gonna do some invitations for some of our current kindergartners to give them a little bit of extra time. High school will be from a credit recovery piece that because of the pandemic, we've had some students that have gotten behind, and so Mr. Hare and Mr. Larson, Mr. Ross have come up with a good plan for the credit recovery piece to hope to get kids back on track for next school year. And some of those students in the summer school will actually transition to BDLA next year, so it'll be a nice transition for them.
Do we know how many, I know, not to put you on the spot, how many kindergartners we have for next year?
Right now, I do not. We're on track for a normal year. Registrations are up, so I can give you those numbers in the update for Friday for sure, to give you an update. Yep.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be it resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the following certified staff to complete curriculum writing in the areas as listed at a rate of $19.88 per hour, as noted.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Dr. Caleres,
Yes.
for explanation for the community, this is different than a supplemental because, or how?
I would consider it summer work. So what's gonna happen is these staff members are gonna be so for example, let's look at Ms. Kunith. Like, we're starting AP Biology next year. She's actually gonna take 20 hours this summer to start developing the curriculum, the mapping, the pacing, the lessons, because we want her to have a good head start on that curriculum in that class. You know, it's something you don't wanna start 2 weeks before. Same thing with these other courses. From a stipend or a supplemental, it's very similar to what teachers would do in a summer school situation with kids. We're just asking them to work on curriculum. What'll end up happening is staff members will turn in that curriculum map at the end of the summer to show what they've created in terms of preparation for that class. It won't be clearly enough to develop the whole course, but it'll get them a good start to start the school year.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yep.
Anyone else? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the resignation of the following certified personnel effective at the end of 2020-21 school year. Adrienne Macy, 4th grade teacher.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
I just want to wish Miss Maisie just best of luck. She's moving to South Carolina. She's just an outstanding teacher, and we were going to really miss her. But best of luck to her and her family.
Yep, absolutely.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby accepts, with regret, the certified retirement of Elizabeth Burke, effective at the completion of the 2020-2021 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a
Second.
Questions, comments?
Congratulations, gonna miss
Yep.
her. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be it resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby commends Elizabeth Burke for her 12 years of service to the students of Brooklyn.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Thank you for your
Congratulations.
service.
Thank
Thank you.
Enjoy your retirement.
Enjoy the second half.
Yes. Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves granting a limited contract to Delia Velez, Spanish teacher, Class 3, Step 7, for the 2021-22 school year, contingent upon successful completion of background check and verification of credentials.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Welcome.
Be resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the resignation of Christina Baldwin, classroom assistant, effective at the conclusion of the 2020-21 school year.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Just wanna wish Tina best of luck.
We'll miss you, Tina.
Good luck. Thank you, Ms. Baldwin.
Good luck.
Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved that the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the attached Community Reinvestment Area Compensation Agreement, which is on file in the Treasurer's Office.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.
Be resolved, the Brooklyn City School District Board of Education hereby approves the May 2021 5-year forecast.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes. Do we have any correspondence related to action information? None at this time. Do you have any other business?
Ms. Barcheck, just want to make a special note. We've had a lot of staff hirings, so I plan to have a little small reception in August, probably half hour, 45 minutes before one of our August board meetings, to invite all our new staff in, cake punch, just get everybody an opportunity to put the face to the name. So just want to give you a heads up on that. We'll be doing something like that in August for all of our staff.
Thank
Good
you.
deal.
Announcement of the next regular
I
board
have,
meeting.
I have one other business item that,
Sorry.
if I could. Two things, actually, and thank you, Mrs. A, for bringing it up. In a 5-year forecast, it looks to me like we're gonna have to go after some new money in 2024. And I'm just wondering, number one, have we heard anything of writing about the medical mutual contract and the funds thereof?
I have a meeting with Mr. Seed this week, so I will get all the information for you, get a write-up for you, and I'll send it over.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then the other one is, who is your contact with SOS, the Support Our Schools Committee?
So the treasurer,
Yeah.
I have his contact.
Okay, good. Just a kind of a footnote to everybody here on the board that we should resume having a fundraiser in February,
This
our traditional
spaghetti.
spaghetti dinner.
Mhm.
You know, we don't want to lose momentum for that.
That was the plan.
Because 2024 is going to come up pretty fast, and we're going to need to get some
Agreed,
fundraising done.
100%. Yep.
Anyone else? Announcement of the next regular board meeting is Tuesday, June 1st, 2021, in the Treasurers Conference Room, 9200 Bidoff Road, Brooklyn, Ohio, 6 p.m. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second? Mrs. A, can you call the roll?
Mr. Singer.
Yes.
Mr. Neal.
Yes.
Mr. Oper.
Yes.
Mr. Slattery.
Yes.
Mrs. Barcheck.
Yes.